Yeah. So when you're ready, you'll just find your way to your mat, lay down. Hey, hey, my dog's just drinking my water out of my cup. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. Susan's joining us. I'm just gonna let her in. Okay, yeah. So coming down to the floor, and when you land on your back, right, there's sort of this like quick scan over your body to help you release any tension. And you might just kind of like check in with the day that you've had, the week that you've had. We as humans have a tendency to either live in the past or the future. I think I once read a statistic. I'm not entirely sure that this is completely accurate, but it's pretty close. That we only spend about 10% of our lives living in the present moment, which is crazy. But we do have this tendency to kind of get stuck in the past, right? So noticing what you've carried with you onto your mat. And a little bit of quiet just so that you have a chance to really check in. And some days you're able to leave everything behind really easily, and other days it takes effort. But we're going to start by connecting to the physical body, right? Like this gross level of self that we can touch, we can feel. It has mass. And we're just going to begin to relax. Feeling the weight of your head heavy against the floor. The muscles of your face start to find a greater sense of ease in your mouth, your jaw, your eyes, forehead. And you might take a swallow to clear your throat. And then see if you can relax that deep inner channel of your throat. A broadening, widening. A lot of us have tendency to kind of hold our shoulders up to our ears. So feel the muscles of the shoulders start to release onto the support of the ground. Because there is that sort of helping hand now of the floor that can hold some of your weight. Like, just the shoulders get a bit more grounded, and maybe with that you can notice a sense of release in the muscles of your neck. And then feeling arms get a little bit more relaxed. Any physical tension dissolving out of the palms of your hands, the gripping of your fingers, and even your fingertips a little bit softer and more receptive to touch. And then feeling the muscles of your back begin to release. And your buttocks, left and right. You might sense the backs of your thighs find a greater felt sense of ease. The fronts of your thighs, your quadriceps. Might even take notice of your knees and send that like easeful quality down through both knees. And your calf muscles feeling a little bit weighted as they also let go. Feel the bottoms of the feet soften, your toes. And then you might even take in a deeper breath through your nose and release a little sigh, a sound out through the mouth. Ah. Allowing yourself this time to show up exactly as you are, holding on to whatever you're holding on to, but finding the space here that it is possible to release. Right? You're not forcing it. You're just opening up to the possibility of a little more letting go. And then see if you can shift your attention onto your breath. You might even touch your hands to your physical body so that you can feel your breath. Get fuller, more intentional, a little slower. And you're welcome to layer on Ujjayi if that's part of your practice. But maybe tonight you use that breath so that it's a little bit more subtle. Right? The sound, just the level of a whisper, the sound that you yourself can hear. And as you just take a few moments to lay down on the ground and breathe. Try not to rush. Try not to be in a hurry. But instead, invite this relaxation to be part of your self-care. Where in this moment, nothing needs to happen. You can simply be just as you are. And as you continue to breathe, right, like quick check in with the body. Have you started to tense or hold tension anywhere? And once aware of that, can you release all over again? And this centering, again, allowing whatever is to be. So when you're ready, if your knees are bent, you'll straighten your legs, take your arms overhead and reach out for a full body stretch. Really try to exaggerate the stretch. Can you feel it everywhere? Exhale, draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. We're going to do that a few times. As you inhale, extend your legs, extend your arms, stretch out. And as you exhale, knees hug tight into the chest. Right, hugging into a little ball here. Again, inhale, stretch out, take up lots of space on the ground. And exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest and sustain. Now, as you breathe in, you're going to start to circle your knees around your low back. And we're going to stay with this long enough so that there's like no awkward space in that circle, but it starts to feel a bit more fluid, right? A bit smoother in the rotation. Try to keep your breath nice and deep, even though we're not specifically moving our breath, like our body to the pace of our breath. But you might notice that there's a space in the circle that it makes more sense to inhale, and a space where it makes a little more sense to exhale. And you're just really massaging your lower back. So hopefully after a few repetitions, the circles start to feel, they're starting to smooth out a bit. Once you find that place that's a little bit more liquidy, change directions and circle the other way. And again, you might find there's a space that it makes more sense to take a breath in, and a space where it makes more sense to take a breath out. And it's really just like what makes sense to you. Right? Yeah, and then again, you start to feel like, oh yeah, so this direction begins to smooth out. So once you feel about even, you'll draw your knees back in towards center. Lower your feet to the ground, knees bent. Take your hands to the sides, palms face the earth. Inhale, lift up low back, middle back, upper back, bridge pose. Exhale, lower upper back, middle back, lower back. We'll do that a few times. As you inhale, lifting up, one vertebrae at a time. Little squeeze of the buttocks at the top, a sense of toning and strengthening and supporting the spine. Exhale, rolling it down again. And you're just going to do this a few times. Okay, so we're bringing a little bit of traction to the spine, some lengthening, because we know that there's a little bit of space between every single vertebrae. And over time, the amount of space between each link of the spine can narrow. Right? So we want to stay fluid, stay open, stay tall. We start to see some of those inches shrinking as we get older. So taking one more inhale, rise up, bridge pose. Exhale, drop down. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, figure four. And as you inhale, pull your left knee up into your chest. And you're going to grab hold wherever it feels like it makes sense to grab hold tonight. You might just go for your back of your thigh. You might reach for around your shin. But staying with like, I'm welcoming some sense of relaxation, trying not to strain in your shoulders, right? Tension in the mouth, jaw, tongue. And then wherever that grip is, begin to pulse with your breath. So as you inhale, you're going to bring this whole shape of your legs a little bit forward away from your chest. And as you exhale, you're going to draw that whole shape closer back down towards the floor. As you inhale, there's a little bit of a release, pressing slightly forward out of the shape. And as you exhale, you're deepening into that figure four stretch. So it's just like a little gentle dynamic action, moving with the breath. And hopefully it feels good to have your back on the ground, right? I know a lot of us are spending just a little too much time on the computer these days. So we're kind of undoing a lot of the common like postural alignments that aren't so healthy for us, right? We have that nice support. We might as well lean into it. You're going to take one more inhale, come forward. And then as you exhale, draw your knees in towards your chest and sustain for 3 really deep breaths. And it might be the deepest breaths that you've breathed yet today. You can keep your eyes closed if that feels good, or you can find a drishti, a steady point of focus for your vision. With your third exhalation, you'll release that hold, take the arms out wide, but your legs are going to stay in this shape, figure 4, palms out to the sides, face up to the sky. Exhale, drop your knees towards the left so that your right foot thinks about touching the ground. Maybe it touches. Inhale, lift your knees back up through center, figure 4. Exhale, drop your knees over to the right so that your right knee thinks about tapping the floor. And again, you're just going to kind of rock. Inhale up to the midline, nice big breath in, nice and slow. Exhale, rock over to the left. Little tap if it's there. Inhale back up to the center, full breath in. Exhale, tap over to the right. And then you'll start to find your own rhythm. So again, it just feels a little bit more fluid, more natural. For my friends that have back pain, low back pain specifically, this is a really good exercise. If you do this for like 5 minutes on each side, you might even start to notice a pretty quick difference. If you want to do it for 10 minutes on each side, you might notice an even more significant difference. And I think like with yoga, there's often, especially nowadays, just this feeling of like, I've got to be working, I've got to be challenging myself, I've got to be like really super active and fast vinyasa and like constantly just like on the verge of losing it, right? But there's so much benefit in these more sort of restorative shapes and actions. And why do we value as a culture, I think, like that more aggressive form of yoga practice over the more easeful form of yoga practice, which to be honest, we could probably all use a little bit more of the easeful balancing, balance us out from life, right? From the stress of this last year. And then come on back up through center. Take your right foot to the ground. Again, hands to your sides by the floor, along your hips. Inhale, rise up, bridge pose. This time we're gonna hold a little bit and bridge. If you have it in your practice to clasp your hands together at your low back, finding that bind, you can. You can also try gripping the sides of your mat, right? Pulling it down and forward. Or you could just keep the hands to the sides, pressing into the earth. Yeah, it's okay to squeeze the butt a little bit. We actually want the butt to be doing a little bit of work here because that's also helping protect our low back. Now, where we don't want to be over efforting is in our jaw. Okay? So loosen up your mouth. You might pull your chin slightly away from your chest so you're not crunching the front line of your throat. And there's also a feeling of softening, relaxing the inner channel, right, of your throat. All those words you haven't said can get stuck. Or some of us have the opposite problem where we just talk and talk and talk and talk and then regret what we have said. And so giving a little bit of attention to how you vocalize yourself in the world, in your life. Yeah, nice hold. Go ahead and release the bind if you have it. Hands come back to the sides. Exhale, lower your spine to the earth. Inhale, left ankle crosses over the right. Exhale, draw that figure four shape in towards your chest and take the bind once more that feels like, oh, this is appropriate for me tonight. I'm not under efforting and I'm not over efforting, but I'm just in the right place. And immediately notice if your left side or your right side is tighter. Most of us have like one tighter side, and it's pretty easy to identify a lot of the time. Now, add in that bit of dynamic movement. Inhale, let your legs release forward a bit. And then exhale, draw your knees in towards your chest and down. Okay. Inhale a little bit forward, release, full breath. Exhale, knees pull into the chest. And again, you're just gonna pulse a few times, right? So we're slowing down, there's no rush. And for a lot of us, we're kind of dramatically shifting the pace of our life or the pace of our day, just to be patient here, to be more receptive to restoring. And you guys are probably a little tired of hearing me talk about breath because I mention it so often, but truly in yoga, the more that you can breathe deeply and stay focused on your breath, the more magical moments you're going to have on your mat. The more you're able to stay in this present now, here, this, right? Not get sucked into the pattern of the past or the future. Again, next time you draw your knee in towards your chest, you're going to sustain 3 really deep, full breaths here. Third, exhale, release, but keep your legs that figure four shape. Take your arms out wide to T, breath in. Exhale, drop your knees over to the right. Maybe your left foot touches the floor or thinks about touching the floor. Inhale, take the knees up to the midline. Right? Nice, easy rocking. Exhale, drop your knees off to the left. Maybe there's, again, a little tap. Inhale up to the midline. Exhale, a little drop to the right. Inhale up to the center. Exhale over the left. And then there's, again, oh, hi Jake. Again, there's a moment to just settle into the pattern of the movement, the pace of your own breath, and to really make this your own little dance of low back massage, of a little twist. You might even notice that you have a greater range of motion on one side versus the other. There's always sort of that searching for where imbalance lies in the body so that when it's recognized, you have a greater chance of bringing it back to center again. So go ahead and take one more to each side. Nice, and then inhale, the knees come back up to the center. When you complete, left foot lowers to the earth. Hands to your side, last bridge pose here. Inhale, rise up through the hips. Right? You might go ahead, take the bind, right, or work with the same arms that you did before, or maybe a different variation. If you're binding, you're going to switch the clasp of your hands. And then everything that's on the ground is really actively pushing into it. Your toes, your feet, your hands, your arms, your shoulders, even the back of your head, without getting too crunchy in the front line of your neck and your throat.
So back bends are known for their energizing qualities, right? And you might even feel that as you hold a back bend, you're like, there's a little part of the brain that's kind of like, okay, I'm good, let me out, right? So that energy starts to build. And at this time of day, right, it's okay to build energy, but we want to do it in a grounded way so that it's not going to disrupt our sleep. But you want to feel like I'm doing a little bit of work and I can sit with that and allow it. Nice, and then go ahead and inhale, release the clasp of the hands if you've got the bind, and exhale, hips to the floor. Now when you land, take the soles of your feet together, open your knees wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. Inhale your arms overhead. And as you exhale, grab hold of opposite elbows. If that's like shoulders are too tight, you can always take a little wider. You could grab the wrists, opposite wrists, or even opposite fingers, give a little more space. Now we're gonna get really passive in this shape, right? So take a big breath in. Hold your breath full, sip in a little bit more in through your mouth. Sip in a little bit more, and then sigh it out, get heavy in the body. Nice. Release the hands back to the outer knees, assist them in towards one another. Hug your knees up in towards your chest, and then begin to rock up to your seat and all the way back down to your back. Right? Up to your seat, down to your back. And you can do this with your breath, right? Find like, where does it make more sense to inhale? Where does it make more sense to exhale? And you get to decide, right? This is your practice. There's really not a wrong way to do it. It's just practice. But we're starting to stimulate, right, our circulation, our blood, our lymphatic fluid, right? Nice, even good for our immunity, a little immune booster to get like all that kind of moving around. And again, we're massaging the whole column of the spine. One more. Cross your ankles, roll forward over your shins, and find tabletop. And then as you come to tabletop, spread your fingers a little wider than habit, right? Adjusting, aligning with intention, with purpose, knees right under the hips, and pause with your spine long. Close your eyes for a moment, tone through the belly, and just notice how it feels to have spent that time on your back. Just observe. Is there a different sensation? Are you impatient? Is it aggravating? Are you really happy to have had that moment of rest? And then just let it be as it is. Now, as you inhale, let the belly sink down towards the ground, rising up through your tailbone and crown of head. And as you exhale, arch your spine to the sky, chin heavy in towards your chest, neck release. Inhale, belly to the ground, right? Try to articulate the movement of every individual vertebrae. Exhale, arch your back. Letting the head hang, neck release. Again, inhale, belly to the ground. Exhale, spine to the sky. You're going to take one more, breathing in. Breathing out. Nice. Inhale. Come back to a neutral spine. Tuck all 10 of your toes under. And as you exhale, shift your hips back towards your heels, keeping your toes tucked. Walk your hands in and lift your chest up. Right? So you're sitting hips to heels. Reach down, give those pinky toes a little assist. Right? So you're deepening them into the toe stand, the toes stretch. And then you're going to take your palms to your thighs here. You're staying nice and tall in your spine. And let your eyes close. And then with that gesture of closing your eyes, right, you're letting your forehead relax, your eyebrows go a little bit heavy, your lower teeth can drop a bit from your upper teeth, Your tongue can fall from the roof of your mouth to the base of your mouth, and that channel of your throat can relax. Yeah. And so I noticed that I had been neglecting our feet. I had been neglecting stretching my own feet, which means you guys have probably been neglecting stretching your feet also. So this can be a lot of sensation, and we might even label it uncomfortable, intense, aggravating, but we're looking like, how can I relax? How can I stay calm with whatever I feel? And then I know like there's such an intense desire to get out of it and to fidget, but can you give me 3 still breaths? 3 still breaths. Really nice. Yeah, you're doing a great job. Good. 4th inhale, thank God, come on forward, untuck your toes, ooh, and then I'll let you pound out your feet a little bit. Give them a little pound on the ground, it should feel really nice. Yeah, that may not be our favorite stretch, but I promise it's good for you. Come on back to your center, re-spread the fingers nice and wide. Once more, tuck the toes. Exhale, lift your hips back and up, downward facing dog. And then see if you can, again, relax your neck, right, which is connected to your mouth, so a little more ease there, which is connected to the shoulders. Feel them spread a little wider apart. More actively engage your 10 fingers into the floor, pressing down. The curve of your first knuckles, the heels of your hands, and then try to lift up like a little air bubble in the very center of your palm. So you're giving a lot of attention to how your hands are engaging. And then hopefully, right, 10 fingers, first knuckles, heels of the hands, and little air bubble at the center of the palm. Hopefully you're feeling less pressure on your wrists and more effort in your arms, right? So you're protecting your wrists, your joints, which, right, you only have this one set of the endangered species of the body. And you're also creating a little more strength in the soft tissue of your arms and shoulders, right? Like that sweet toning that yoga can give us. Now we're going to stay in this gentle inversion, right? Because downward facing dog, our head is below our heart. It is an inversion. We're just going to enjoy the change in scenery. So you might even look back between your legs, notice what you see back there, and how you can take the space that you're in, right? Like how you can intake that in a different way. I know, stay with it, right? Good focus, steady drishti. Nice deep breath. And it's just you on your mat. It's just this time for yourself. So don't be afraid to go inward and study yourself, study what you find, conscious of the thoughts that you have, of the internal dialogue. You know, they're the same words over and over again. Is there something you want to change? You have a lot of power to change just by deciding to change something. And I promise we're almost out of it. One more breath here. Nice. Inhale, walk your hands all the way back towards your toes, forward fold. And as you exhale, bend your knees a bit, hang. Okay, just this like dangling pose. Picture a soaking wet towel, really heavy with the weight of water, just kind of hanging off a towel bar, and let your body emulate that, like just dripping, dripping, heavy with weight, hanging from the hips. Nice. Inhale, walk your hands up your legs, rolling your spine up. Come all the way up to stand. Take your shoulders up to your ears, onto your back and down. Finding Tadasana, mountain pose. Yeah. And I see there's a few of you here tonight that were in YTT. So can you think all the way back? I think the first posture clinic we did was mountain pose, right? Which is a really active posture. We're not passive here, right? You're pressing your feet into the earth. Imagine that if you had a strap tied around your shins, you could press your legs out into the press of the strap. But if you had a block between your thighs, you could hug your legs in. Yeah, right? That should feel like a little bit of a puzzle. And then your belly is engaged because you're lengthening, lifting up through the crown of your head. You're getting really tall, right? You want to be like that tallest mountain on the hillside. Yeah. And then your fingertips are reaching for the ground. The muscles of your arms are wrapping tight to the bone, right? But where we don't want to feel so much effort is like what's happening in the face, what's happening in the mouth, right? What's happening in our mind, what's happening in our heart. Can we be at ease here? And I swear, like if we just did mountain pose for like an hour, like you should be sore from it. Yeah, you should be like, whoa, I worked. I stood with integrity, right? That's how we want to feel mountain pose. And the energy behind it is like, I am strong, I can survive, I can hold steady through all. Inhale, arms up to the sky overhead. Mark's gonna make a little guest appearance here. Exhale, hands come down to the ground, forward fold. Breathe in, take a half lift, palms up position, shoulders back from your ears, heart forward out of your waist. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, walk your hands forward to the front of the mat, high plank pose, right? Shoulders right over the wrist. And then, it's kind of like mountain pose, plank pose. We got activity here. Lots of activity in my house, dogs, husbands, right? So plank pose, we're still kind of in the center line. We want to feel all that effort in the body that we were just working to feel in mountain pose, but now we're adding the press of the hands into the ground, the push of the feet into the earth. And we're building up a little bit of that more solar energy, but we're doing it in a really grounded and steady way. So you've got 5 more breaths here. Don't give up. I want you to really work, because at the end of that 5th breath, you're going to reward yourself with child's pose. Yeah, nice. Way to stay with it. When you do get to that 5th exhalation, drop your knees down to the earth. Take your hips back towards your heels. Bring your hands back by your feet, palms face up to the sky, and let the head rest onto the ground or onto a pillow or onto a block, whatever you've got that you can reach your head to. And in this child's pose, right, this more like resetting, restorative, right? Can we again like welcome in the ease? Can we welcome in this moment of rest? Just as much as we have the tendency in our lives, right, to do. And can we just do less? And feel the whole back body broaden a little bit. Yeah. friend just sent me a video of her daughter who was, I guess, overtired or overstimulated and just was having a total tantrum, like a complete total meltdown. And she fell into child's pose, like literally just fell from her life into child's pose for like a reset, for a reset. And while we as adults, right, we might not have those tantrums, although some of us still are having tantrums, right? Yeah, but we can get all that like same benefit of resetting, right, as a little kid. Nice. Inhale, lift back up to all fours, find your tabletop. Exhale, tuck your toes under, all 10 of them. Shift your hips back towards your heels. Walk your hands in, lift your chest up. You thought we were done with toe stretching, foot stretching. We're not done with it. Tuck those pinky toes in and under. So the thing is, when we neglect a part of the body, which I'm kind of judging on the fidgeting I saw in the first round, we haven't really been doing the feet that much for most of us. It's important that we kind of do it again, right? So you guys know I love anatomy, right? The bands of fascial tissue in the bottom of the foot, right? What we're stretching here, it's kind of like when you peel, oh, what is the word for the fruit I'm thinking of? An orange. When you peel an orange, right? You take the skin off, and a lot of times it leaves behind that really thick layer of like gunk that's around the orange, and then you have to peel it again and get like all that thick layer of white sort of pulp off. That's what we're thinking of in the feet. We're thinking of like that really thick edge. I'm not cheating, I'm doing it too. Okay, so you're like, she's not even doing it. I'm doing it too. I'm uncomfortable also. Yeah, so we're thinking about it being like that really thick, you know, second layer of white stuff. That's kind of the fascial tissue that runs through the feet. So it takes time. It takes patience. It takes smiling and relaxing our shoulders down from our ears and deep breath. Yeah. And it might feel like the never-ending stretch, the never-ending sensation, the never-ending storm of thought or emotional reaction, or like literally you might start to get hot. See how yoga prepares us for life? Yeah, and then we get to move on. Inhale, come forward, untuck the toes. Go ahead, give your feet a little pound. Pound them out, or don't if you don't need to. Yeah. From your tabletop, keep the belly a little bit toned here. You want to feel like I'm doing something. Inhale, walk your hands forward and drop your chest towards the floor. Anahatasana. And this, I swear, is one of the best postures we can be doing if you are sitting at your computer or standing at your desk, right? This is really good for sort of counteracting the lives that we're living in modern society. Hands are pushing onto the floor, so we're not passive in the arms. Belly is toned, so we're supporting the tractioning of the spine. And there might be room to like hollow out a little bit more under your arms. Nice. Inhale, walk your hands back in, tabletop. Exhale, tuck your toes, take your hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. And then in your down dog, right, can you, right, just enjoy the change in scenery to look at your space upside down. I think that little reset that inversions can provide. And then think about the way that your hands are engaging. Right, so I'll say it again, your 10 fingers, push them down. Yeah, nice. The first knuckle, the heel of your hand, and then like a little air bubble in the center of your palm. And with that, You should feel like, oh, my wrists feel more easeful, more spacious. My arms feel more strength, right? My shoulders feel more. Try to spread your shoulder blades wide apart. Think about the upper back getting really broad. Nice. Now inhale, take your right leg up to the sky. This is the only time we're going to do it, so enjoy it. Exhale, roll your hips open to the side and bend your knee. Oh, should feel good, like just a big stretch. Inhale, straighten your right leg, square hips to the ground. Exhale, step your right foot wide outside of your right hand. Lizard lunge. Take a breath in, pull your heart forward out of your waist. As you exhale, straighten your right leg, pressing your hips back without locking your right knee. So you're not going to straighten that right leg all the way. Inhale, shift forward, knee over the ankle. We're just getting a little bit into the hips. We haven't done a ton with them. Exhale, straighten the right leg, press the hips back, right? Not all the way, don't lock out your knee. Again, inhale forward, exhale back. Nice, and then as you inhale, shift forward, take knee over the ankle, right? Exhale, roll to the outer edge of your back foot, step your right foot to your left. Inhale, right arm up to the sky. Oh, who saw this coming? Side plank. Yeah, nice. Now I want you to think of mountain pose even in your plank, right? So yeah, there's like a squeezing in of the legs. They're active, they're strong. A lengthening of the torso. We're trying to extend the full support of the vertebrae, right? And then reaching in opposite directions through your hands. Now, big breath in. Exhale, right hand to the ground. If you want it, you can take a vinyasa to kind of clear that out. We haven't done a lot of back bending, so it might be nice just to take cobra. Exhale, hips rise to the sky, downward facing dog. Yeah, nice. Attention to detail. Fingertips, first knuckle, heels of hands, little bubble in the center of the palm. Like a tiny little Buddha could live under your hand and wouldn't get smushed. Yeah. Nice, inhale, left leg up to the sky. Exhale, take your hip opener, bend your knee, let it feel good. Oh, enjoy the stretch. Inhale, straighten your left leg, square your hips to the earth. Exhale, step your left hand outside of your left foot, lizard lunge. Might take a few steps, might take the help of your hand to bring your foot forward. It's just practice, doesn't matter. Right, inhale, you're extending crown of the head, heart forward, out of the way. So you want to feel like first there's just that length. Yeah. And then as you exhale, straighten the left leg without locking this knee. So the leg isn't going to straighten all the way. Inhale, shift forward, knee over the ankle, nice and long here. Exhale, press back. Nice. Again, inhale. And exhale. Nice, inhale, shift forward, ground the back heel to the earth. Exhale, step your left foot to your right, side plank. We knew it was coming. Left arm up, mountain pose, right? So we can assume any shape in yoga and get a little sloppy with it or a little lazy in it. Right? But it takes our own dedication to really feel like, oh, I'm going to do it 100%. Give it 100%. Yeah, nice. And then one more big breath in, full breath. Exhale, left hand down. Option to move through that vinyasa if you want it. Otherwise, downward facing dog. If child's pose feels better, child's pose, some days that's what we need. Yeah, nice. Now breathe in, walk your hands back towards your feet. And when you get there, picture that wet towel, little bend in the knees. Exhale, just dangle. You just dangle. You're like, your legs are falling from your hips a little bit. Your upper body is falling from your hips a little bit. Yeah, and then watch your head. You might shake out your neck a couple times, your head yes, up and down. What do you want to say yes to in life? Yeah. And then you might take it no a few times. Like, who's pushing your limits? How can you start to say no a little bit more often? No, I'm not going to do that thing. And then keep that little bend in the knees. And as you inhale, tone the belly, start to roll up to stand. Shoulders pull all the way up to the ears, onto the back and down. Nice. Now from here, you're going to step your feet outer hips width distance apart, a little bit wider. And you're going to make sure that you can like circle and not hit anything. Right? You're like measuring your hands. I'm not going to hit anything. I have a clear space. Yeah. And then you're going to let your hands drop down to your sides. And you're just going to start to twist a little bit. Exhale to the side. Inhale. Actually, I'm not even going to guide the breath. Maybe there's a space that it makes more sense to breathe in and a space that it makes more sense to breathe out. And then you're going to begin to pick up a little bit more momentum and look back over your shoulder as you twist. Come onto the opposite tippy toes as you twist. Okay? And you're just letting your arms be completely heavy. Right? You're not controlling how they're moving. You're just letting them swing around your body. And this is like one of the sweetest spinal twists that you can take because it gets your whole spine. And from the very base up to the crown of the head. And then you're going to start to let that slow down a little bit. You're going to begin to lose some momentum. Your feet are going to stay planted. Okay? You're not going to look as far behind you. Your arms are going to kind of naturally just come into stillness. And you can feel like, oh, a little cardio, right? Maybe your heart's beating a bit. Right? Maybe it feels good energetically. Always makes me smile a little bit. Right? Like maybe you can just like notice, what do I feel from that? Yeah. And then take your shoulders up to your ears and onto your back and down. Inhale, big stretch of your arms to the sky. Actually reach through your fingertips. Exhale, hands to your heart. A little tuck of your chin to your chest to close your eyes. And just connect back within. Connect back to you tonight, how you are showing up right now. And allow it. Allow it. Allow yourself to be the way that you are. From here, you have like 5 to 8 breaths to move in any way that brings you to your seat. Like what didn't you get that you need? Maybe a little bit of side stretching, right? Like you can't do it wrong. And you're home alone. There's nobody looking at you, right? You can't do it wrong. What do you need? But you are thinking about how you're going to land in a seat. And then when you come to sit, and there's no rush, don't feel rushed. You're home alone, you do you. You could take 10 breaths, you could take 20 breaths, right? But when you do come to sit, you're going to think about like, I want to right away get into a seat of meditation. because that's what all this movement, all these postures, right? The practice of yoga is really guiding us towards, is having a meditation practice. And eventually, there's really no separation between the yoga and the meditating, but it's all sort of the same thing. And you're never gonna get to that place that's quiet if you're not comfortable in your seat. So make sure you're comfortable. Wiggle around. And then either close your eyes or just soften your gaze to one point of focus. So whether your eyes are open or closed, you're not moving them around. And you don't need to control your experience of meditating. You just give yourself permission for it to be whatever it is. Now, if you have found a peaceful quality in your seat, you have the option of staying in seated meditation this evening. But if there is struggle, right, either physical, mental, emotional, breath, if there's any kind of struggle showing up in your meditation this evening, then you're going to decide to recline in Shavasana instead. We're gonna end here this evening. You're welcome to stay. Stay in Shavasana, stay in meditation. As always, I will hang out for a little bit if anybody wants to stay on. And then I do just want to mention, because I forgot that this was happening, but this Sunday evening at 7 o'clock, I'll be leading community meditation. It's just pay what you can, whatever feels right. And it's 30 minutes. And the Zoom link is on our website, www.thesouthwestyogashala.com. So this Sunday evening, I promise it'll be like a nice, relaxing meditation. We're trying to keep them like really, really chill, maybe yoga nidra. I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do yet, but it will be easeful. So this Sunday night. Guys, have a wonderful rest of your week. Stop recording. Ooh.